So some guys that work in a nursery invented online MMO gaming as it is known today. But before EverQuest, there was Neverwinter Nights, the first 2D graphical MMO RPG, which was very simple compared to EQ's immersive 3D MMO RPG. Does it matter at all that I don't understand what the hell I'm saying? No? Okay, here's Jace with the creator of Neverwinter Nights.
We got to have you in this documentary. Are you up for it?
I'm all set.
Okay, it's really noisy in here.
We're going to take me to lunch by the bay, and here we are next to the airport. I don't know.
The airport's over there, but this is a great shot. EverQuest. Is that coming through? Wow.
EverQuest went boldly, fearlessly forward in a world where it wasn't clear yet how you could make money doing an MMO. Had to be by the
I'm done. Quincy. We're here. Quincy.
One of us is here.
Well, I didn't get your last name.
My name is not Quincy. You know, I'd expect you to have a little more preparation for this. I have to be honest.
I was Quincy.
Some people said I was Quincy. Those people might have been named Quincy, but I am not, in fact, named Quincy. My name is Doc Whitson. I need to work at Sony.
Whitson?
Whitson.
What are you doing in the schema of EverQuest franchise? Why am I even talking to you? Why did they book this?
Well, it's incredible. I just show up and they pay me to draw pictures. I was hired at Sony Online in September of '96. John Smedley himself hired me.
Do you have any Smedley stories?
He took a bullet for the team.
Did he really?
He took the office next to the bathroom. And John Smedley was the only guy that said, all right, nobody else wants to take an office next to this thing. Comes through the walls. I understand. I'll take the office next to it. Which was really big on his part, but strange when you were interviewing with him.
We are here with Don
Lucelli, like the pasta.
Let me turn the Wayback Machine on for a second.
No, I'm the same schmuck going to the retailers. I just take this beautiful product, a box comp, me and this thing.
That's too big.
No, but this is how we sold it in. We're like, our game is bigger than anything out there.
So what was Sony Online like back then?
We just launched PlayStation 1. Smedley and a couple other guys had these PC ideas, Tannerus, EverQuest. Nobody really, back in the console days, understood what massive multiplayer gaming was. At that point in time, too, I was a sports gamer and a shooter. I had no idea what a paladin was or a cleric, or they're just these little figures that have funded our beautiful world that we live in.
EverQuest made a huge difference in people's lives, but before that could happen, the game had to be built. Somebody had to have the guts to spend that much money on the game, and they took it and they ran with it and they made it.
You have Smed trying to figure out how to make something that's like 20 times bigger than anything that's ever been made before on a business model that hasn't yet been proven to exist. This is where, in the documentary, we'd go forward and explore that struggle. David and Goliath type stuff.
Have you been talking to me?
Yeah, the struggle. He's got to make a...
What do you do with that?
Okay. So we're here with Clint Worley.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where were you and what were you doing when you first heard about this EverQuest project being done at Sony? And what did you think?
Brad McQuaid and Steve Clover and some of those guys were brought in. I didn't really know who they were, what they were doing, but they were all focused on making this role-playing game. And they were really passionate about it, and no one at the time, because we were very console, like PlayStation 1 and some PC games, were really focused on those things, but the whole concept of this like online world thing, I mean, I don't even think people were using chat rooms at the time.
Did you just think it was kind of just a bad idea coming out of the gate?
If they weren't as passionate as they were, it would have definitely been like, these guys are crazy.
Brad and Steve had a great vision for what the game was.
Brad and I pretty much were more or less left to run with it at that point.
Right from the start, there was a couple of page kind of concept document. What that concept document is what EverQuest was made into. I've never seen anything that followed so closely to the vision that they had and the ideas that they had to actually getting made into a game that was just like what the vision document was.
How many of there were you at this point now?
Well, right at the beginning was just Steve and I. And then once we needed some artwork, Rosie Cosgrove came over.
I was the original art director on EverQuest.
Were you the only female in this Clover here?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm guessing that the hygiene wasn't fantastic in this thing, right?
Well, we had air freshener, so.
And you would just spray it on the people?
Yeah, directly.
There was Bill Trost, Brad McQuaid, and Roger McPherson, and Roger Uzin, and there's a couple Rogers.
I think your dog is passing gas, and is there anything we can...
If you say it was him, okay, I know I'm not.
So it just slowly but surely built up from 2 people to like 23 or 24.
John put them into a little cube area all by themselves and kept them away from the core group for a while just to keep it under the radar. And he kept on edging people into the group.
And it was called the Cube of Love. It was a cloverleaf-shaped cube meant to handle 4 people, 1 at each of the 4 pedals. Instead, we got up to 10. So there were people at all of the corners of this lucky clover.
Okay, in the farting...
Because EverQuest was probably the most unprofessional development cycle we'd ever done, we had just people from all walks of life in these meetings talking about what was going to work in the game, and they were just nothing more than argument sessions. People were screaming at each other left and right.
Well, it was like, hey, should we try to go for the Dungeons and Dragons license? Everyone knows Dungeons and Dragons. There was a lot of friction around that. Like, should we go for something a lot of people know and love, or should we make our own thing?
There was constant chatter going back and forth, politics, religion, all this stuff. Watching this like little family, the family squabbles that went on in that was fun.
If you knew at that moment how much work lay ahead, would you have still done it?
That's hard.
EverQuest fact number 275. There are over 11,221 rats in EverQuest. Sounds like my place.
Ultima Online came out roughly about halfway into development on EverQuest, and it immediately showed us that there was a commercial market.
For the first time, we could actually point to something and say, look, this is kind of what we're trying to do. And for the first time, we actually had something tangible to explain to a marketing or salesperson or hell, a boss, and say, this is what we're building and why we were going to be PvE.
And we probably made a choice early on that we were going to be more of a player versus environment game. And Ultima Online quickly had gotten the reputation for being player versus player activity.
There were people on the team that wanted PvP, and those of us that had gotten in and played Ultima Online and experienced the PvP that happened there and everything, we were just like, whoa, we can't do that. A large band of guys come and freeze you and kill you and take all your stuff and laugh at you.
Right after Ultima Online released, it was a huge high point for us because we felt like, wow, this is absolutely going to work.
There were definitely times when I thought that we would never be able to do it.
Wait a minute. What? He's like, it's gonna work, and you're all, no, it ain't gonna work. What's the deal?
There was just a lot of work.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
And the occasional, let's hit the reset button kind of feeling. When that happened, I mostly just wanted to crawl under my desk and go to sleep.
The rest of the company began to nickname the game EverQuest.
MMO, obviously you got thousands and thousands of assets to create.
It was one of the first true 3D engines. I didn't think a game could look that good.
It just seemed like everybody wanted a piece of this. And then when we shipped it, it was just an explosion.
Why are we standing in a hallway?
You guys keep clowning me. It's not cool.